The search is on to find some of the rarest blood donors in the world. OneBlood is leading a massive effort to find very specific blood donors to help save a little Florida girl's life. Could you be her match? Her family joins us with their plea to the public as the race to find more donors intensifies.
My daughter's life very much depends on the blood.
The possibility of us finding a compatible donor for this little girl is less than 4%.
It's a humble request, and I request it from my heart. So please donate the blood for my daughter.
This is an all hands on deck effort from all of OneBlood. This is what we do.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Susan Forbes. Right now, a groundbreaking worldwide search is underway to find some of the rarest blood in the world, all to help 2-year-old Zanab. She's a Miami area girl who needs frequent blood transfusions to help fight an aggressive form of cancer known as neuroblastoma. What makes it so difficult to find compatible donors for Zanab is something her red blood cells are missing. You may not realize it, but in addition to blood being type A, B, O, or AB, our red blood cells also have antigens on them. Zanab is missing what is known as the Indian B antigen. It's a very common antigen, meaning most of us have it on our red blood cells. And because it's so common, it's that much more difficult to find someone else who doesn't have it. The bottom line is, for a donor to be a match, they must be a certain blood type and must also be missing the Indian B antigen, or the little girl's body will reject the blood. OneBlood has a specialized team working this case around the clock, literally searching the world trying to find compatible donors for Zanab. It's a massive effort because, as we have discovered, the pool of potential donors is very specific and extremely limited.
This antibody is so rare that honestly this is the first time I've seen it in the 20 years I've been doing this. But the challenge now becomes that because she's made this antibody, we now have to provide more specially matched blood for this child.
In order to find a few units for the little girl, we need to test a very specific population, which are people from the Middle East, Iran, Pakistan, and India.
The possibility of us finding a compatible donor for this little girl within the right ethnic group that we want to screen is less than 4%. This is why we're really appealing to donors from that region to please come and donate and let us test their blood so that we can find somebody that's compatible for her. We have a 0% chance of finding compatible blood for this little girl if we look in pretty much any other ethnic group.
Why? Because people from different countries have specifically genetic backgrounds. And in order to find the blood compatible for her, we need to only exclusively test donors from those particular regions of the world. Iran, Pakistan, and India.
Ultimately, we're going to need at least probably 7 to 10 solid donors that we can sort of stage and coordinate to donate over the course of this little girl's treatment. So at this point, we're actually beginning to initiate an international search in order to find blood for this little girl. This is all hands on deck, all of OneBlood, complete and total effort. We are searching the world trying to find blood for this little girl. Sometimes all of the sharing and all the resources in the world, you still come down to we've got to search for compatible donors for this little girl. Her antibody is just that rare.
The efforts are huge. As soon as we get the donation here, we have a team members only working with this case and doing whatever it takes to find the compatible unit among the units that we get from those nationalities.
We're really the sole source to determine if the blood that's getting donated is really going to be compatible with this little girl. We can safely transfuse it to her because we've tested it outside of her body to determine that inside of her body it's going to be okay. She's going to need to be completely supported by blood donations in order to survive the cancer treatment, in order to kill this cancer. The blood's not going to cure, but the blood is very, very, very important to support her while she undergoes the treatment for this particular cancer.
I cannot express my words of appreciation for every single member of the team, locally, outside of the United States and international, for doing whatever it takes to find blood compatible for that girl.
OneBlood is working closely with the American Rare Donor Program, which searches the world for rare blood. And we are also in regular communication with other blood centers, trying to find people who could be potential matches. So far, 3 matching donors have been located for Zanab. That includes a donor that the American Rare Donor Program located in the United Kingdom near London. It's the first time OneBlood has ever received an international donor for a local patient. There on your screen, you can see the OneBlood Reference Lab team, who has been relentlessly working this case, proudly holding that unit of blood, which was urgently flown in from the UK to the OneBlood Reference Lab, specifically for little Zanab. The other 2 donors were found in the United States, and right there on your screen are all 3 of the precious units currently on hand for Zanab. And while it's wonderful these 3 donors have been identified, it's simply not enough. Zanab will need blood transfusions for the foreseeable future, and for that reason, the search is on to find more compatible donors for her. Again, the donor criteria to be a possible match for Zanab are very specific. Only people who are exclusively of Pakistani, Indian, or Iranian descent are likely to be a match for her. That means both parents of potential donors need to be 100% Pakistani, Indian, or Iranian, and a matching donor must also be blood type O or A. Of these populations, less than 4% of the people are actually missing the Indian B antigen. If you fit these criteria and think you might be a match for Zanab, we encourage you to please visit our website at oneblood.org. We have created a special page about Zanab, and there you can find where to donate, whether you live in the OneBlood service area or elsewhere. And if you do donate, please remember to tell your phlebotomist that you are donating for Zanab so the unit receives the additional compatibility testing needed. Zanab is having regular chemotherapy treatments, and the good news is the tumor is shrinking, but she still has a long road ahead of her. Eventually, she will need to have 2 bone marrow transplants, which will make her stronger and allow doctors to give her higher doses of chemotherapy. But those transplants will require even more transfusions of this very rare blood. I spoke with Zanab's father recently, who hopes that by sharing his daughter's story, more donors will be found.
She was first diagnosed about 2 months ago, but this thing was growing in her stomach for, we believe it's been about almost 10 months now. The results came in and the results were very bad, and she was diagnosed with a high-risk neuroblastoma, and we were all crying, and this was like the worst thing we were expecting. They found out that she had a very rare blood type, and the doctor came in the room. She asked me and my wife, both of us, to go and donate the blood. The next day we found out we're both not compatible, and a lot of people from my family, they went around and donated the blood, and that's when it became more of an alert. But luckily, thank God, they have found few units, so far she has been going through her normal treatment. We will definitely need more blood. My daughter, she is still a long way from being perfect. So as I said, if you are one of those people from the Middle East, please go out and donate the blood from my daughter. I think it's amazing how OneBlood is doing, how they are reaching out all across the world, and whoever heard it, they said, oh wow, they went to England and they found one unit from there. But again, it's not enough. We need to find more. What you're doing to save a human life, to save my daughter's life, it's amazing. The work you are doing, I will never ever forget it. And once my daughter grows, and I'm gonna remind her, that the effort was made for you, to save your life. So I encourage everybody to please go out and donate the blood. It's a humble request, and I request it from my heart. My daughter's life very much depends on the blood. So please donate the blood for my daughter.
And people are hearing that father's plea to help his daughter. So far, more than 1,000 people of Iranian, Pakistani, and Indian descents have turned out to donate for Zanab. Our reference lab team has tested every one of those units, and so far, no local match. OneBlood's Pat Michaels attended a blood drive held specifically for Zanab and joins us with that part of the story.
Susan, Islamic groups throughout Florida and even in other parts of the country are holding blood drives, hoping to find more rare blood donors for Zainab. I talked to Zainab's uncle at a recent blood drive about the need for the Muslim community to come together to help save his niece.
Mohammed Musri is a man of his word. He's the leader of the Islamic Society in Central Florida, and he signed up to donate blood, pleading for the people in his mosque to donate alongside him. Here, sitting in the donor chair, giving the thumbs up to his Islamic brothers and sisters, encouraging them to donate to help find a match for a 2-year-old girl in Miami.
Well, the story of the little girl Zainab is a story that put a face, an innocent face of a little girl on a need that is global. Zainab could be my daughter, could be your daughter, could be someone else's daughter.
The likelihood of finding a match is high among people of Indian, Iranian, and Pakistani descent. And holding blood drives at mosques like this one increases the chance that someone might be a match. Her family is doing whatever it takes to get the word out.
We need really our community to help us out so we can save that little life.
I saw this as a chance to try to help and see if I match, and if not, hopefully my blood will be used for someone else who needs it.
It can happen to anyone, and if it happens to us, we obviously want everyone else to help out. So I think that whatever we can do, if it's blood that we can donate to help save someone's life.
For many donors here, it's a wake-up call to do something they really hadn't considered before now.
Hopefully I'll be a match because she's from the Middle East, I'm from the Middle East, so hopefully I'll be able to help out.
I love to give, it's normal to give people. We are human here. We have to share each other together.
I want to encourage everybody out there to do their fair share, to contribute with their own blood. From a faith perspective, I say praying is not enough. Prayers and thoughts, are not enough. God expects us to go further and to give blood.
Zainab's entire family has donated, but unfortunately none of them are a match. It might surprise you that her parents are not a match, but it comes down to genetics. Her parents carry the Indian B antigen, and for whatever reason, that gene was simply not passed on to Zainab. So again, if you think you might be a match for Zainab, meaning both of your parents are of 100% Pakistani, Indian, or Iranian descent, and you are blood type O or A, we encourage you to visit our website at oneblood.org. We have created a special page for Zainab, and there you can find out where to donate if you live in the One Blood service area, or what to do if you live outside our service area. If you do donate, please remember to tell your phlebotomist that you are donating for Zainab so the unit receives the additional compatibility testing needed. Susan?
Pat, this all comes down to a person's blood type and blood traits, both of which are inherited. The same way as your eye and hair color are inherited, it's genetic. And different genetic makeups are found in people from different ethnic backgrounds. This is why it is vital that we have a diverse blood supply. And we're seeing this play out with Zainab. The American Rare Donor Program focuses on finding those rare donors. One Blood participates in the American Rare Donor Program, and our Stephanie Zurin is taking us behind the scenes to show how this network of rare donors is saving people's lives.
This is One Blood's reference lab in Fort Lauderdale. It's where the search for extremely rare blood types never stops. It's an ongoing search, a biological puzzle to match patients with the rarest blood with the right blood donors.
When a patient comes into a hospital and the hospital does a screening test, they send those samples to us. We have the expertise, we have the resources, and we have the knowledge to figure out that puzzle, figure out what that antibody is. And then in turn also have the resources and the ability to find the matched blood for that patient to ensure that they get a safe blood transfusion.
The science to find these crucial units can be painstaking, like finding a needle in a haystack. When it's found, it is carefully categorized and stored for very specific patients.
We are able to find rare units frequently. Very often, usually weekly, we are sharing a unit somewhere across the United States. Recently, we shipped units into Canada for a patient there. So it happens all the time. It's part of our mission in our reference labs. In fact, we've been recognized for the last several years as one of the top providers of units across the United States.
Being an immunohematology reference lab, we're also part of a group called the American Rare Donor Program. And this program is a group of other reference laboratories and blood centers around the United States and actually around the world. We share rare units that we find with other blood centers and other laboratories, and in turn, when we need blood, we put out the call to all of those other blood centers and they help us.
Since rare donors require blood with very specific antigens, ethnicity plays a major role, which is why having a diverse donor population is crucial.
So we have a very diverse donor population, which means that we have some of the matches that other people might need. So when we find a donor that we think is unusual or rare, we will save that unit, freeze it, and make it known to the American Rare Donor Program that we have that donor registered.
We here at OneBlood also store rare units. You notice in here those little square canisters, and each one of those is a unit of blood that's been specially put in a solution of glycerol to preserve the red cells and frozen and kept at minus 80 degrees. When it's time to use the blood, we take it down to those machines, we thaw it out, we wash it gently in some really nice saline, and the end product is a transfusible, ready-to-use product for our patient.
So, you know, I think our reference lab staff are the unsung heroes at the blood center sometimes. Many people don't see them. They're back in the corner of one of the buildings working away. But their job is really to solve the most difficult antibody problems that there are. And they thrive on that because it's a challenge, it's a puzzle, and they know it saves patients' lives. We get those kind of antibody problems from all of the hospitals we serve. Sometimes we even get them from other blood centers. But we have a team that we can be proud of because they lead the nation in their capabilities. And I'm very proud to be leading them. They're doing a wonderful job, and their goal has always been do what's right for the patient and be there when they need us.
Again, if you think you could be a match for Zanab, we encourage you to visit our website at oneblood.org. We have created a special page about Zanab, and there you can find all the information you need to make sure you meet the criteria to be a potential match for Zanab and where you can go to donate. And if you do donate, please remember to tell your phlebotomist that you are donating for Zanab so the unit receives the additional compatibility testing needed. And we can't say it enough, the criteria to be a match for Zanab is very specific. Only people who are exclusively of Pakistani, Indian, or Iranian descent are likely to be a match for her. That means both of your parents are 100% Pakistani, Indian, or Iranian. You must also be blood type O or A. If that's you, please go to oneblood.org. Thank you for joining us for OneBlood's special presentation of the search for rare blood donors for little Zanab. You can count on us to keep you posted if we find more compatible blood matches, and we'll bring you the latest on Zanab's fight to beat cancer. And remember, the need for blood never stops, whether it's rare blood or not. So share your power to save lives and donate blood.